Hello, 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 and welcome to another live coaching. It's January 12th, and we are streaming not at the normal time. So, normally we are streaming a little bit later than I am today, but I've got some stuff coming up today, and I'm not going to be able to make the normal streaming time. So I'm streaming now. If that means that you're catching this on the replay, I'm sorry about that. Uh, I love having everyone here live and being able to interact with the comments, but this is the only way that I can make it work today. So that is what is going on. And yeah, we're just going to dive right in. I'm going to get into the Facebook group and go from there. So I'm going to load up the Facebook group. First, I'm going to post a comment saying, we are live. Today's live coaching is early. Boom. All right, so I posted that. I'm going to share my screen. We are going to get into it. And like always, I want to know, did you sail this week? Say hi in the chat. All right. So let's get this all set up. I had not that many great sessions, but I did have one jumping session and I had a breakthrough on my double forward. So double forwards are a move that I can do and I've done for a long time, but not as consistently as some of the best guys in the world. And there are only a few guys who can really do super um, consistent double forwards. And Barzinho, Philip Koster, there's like a handful, right? But and then there's a lot who are kind of like me who can do doubles but not super consistently, and of the pro fleet. And anyway, so I was studying Barzinho's footage and I noticed something he does with his legs. And so I started implementing that into my doubles, and it was transformational. So I'm still not at the super high consistency level, but my rotations are a lot faster. I still have some little issues. Again, I can do them, I can land them, but it's not like bang, bang, bang landing on my board every time. Often I'll land on my butt, or I can land a little sideways, or it can be a little funky. But this little trick with the legs really helped me, and it's something that I'm going to bring into the forward loop coaching that I do. We do some learn to loop weeks, and we do. There's going to be a learn to loop course online as well, and this is something I'm going to take from what I learned with doubles and apply it to single forwards, because it's a very similar concept about getting a fast horizontal rotation. All right, I'm going to get the Facebook group loaded up. Like I said, I'm tight on time today, and so we're trying to get everything. Oh, all right. I have to remember how I did this last time. Again, I'm still getting used to this streaming software, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it to work. All right, I'm gonna deal with this next time. For now, we're just gonna get through with the coaching, and we can get on because I've got some stuff I got to get to today. All right, let's sort by new. And the other thing is some housekeeping stuff. Is that we have masterclasses coming up this year. Some of them are already sold out, but there are spaces in Morocco. So 2 weeks in Morocco, first week is sold out. Second week has some spots, June 15th till 21st. Also, July in Gran Canaria, July 21st to 27th. And this is Pozo, but not just Pozo. It's going to be a Gran Canaria masterclass. I'm really looking forward to this one. And then dates are not fully set, but August, September time, we are going to do a Maui masterclass. If you've applied to this, which you have a bunch of people that have applied, I will get back to you soon. to help set the date. So if you want to be on that masterclass and you want to be involved in setting the dates, then fill out the application and you'll be involved in that discussion. If you wait, the dates are going to be set based on what works for me, plus everyone who's in that first group of people who applied. And then if they work for you, great. And if they don't, they don't. So if you want to be involved in that date setting, then go in here. Now, how do you apply for these things? You just go, you click apply here, you fill out the form, and then I go through the applications periodically. And then if you're accepted, you get an email. Sometimes we need more information before we can make that decision. And then we have a little Zoom or something like that. All right. Also, in the same housekeeping vein, next week, Friday, we are doing a year planning. So it's Friday, January 17th, and I've got some really cool planning exercises. You need to sign up though. So if you sign up, I need your email, your first name, your last name, and just confirmation that you want to join our Zoom session. And then I will send you the invitation to the Zoom. It's free, it's open to everyone. And I want to have a really productive year planning session, brainstorming session. I think this is super, super useful, even for beyond 2025. It's something to do to think about your whole windsurfing life. So don't miss this. It's free, it's available to everyone. It is happening on the 17th at 9 a.m. Hawaii time. So that's, when is it? 8 p.m. European time, 7 p.m. UK time. All right. Dates are set for Gran Canaria. We have an event in Israel. So if you're in Israel and you want to join this event, here's the information for it. You can always catch, this is a comment from Dan, the past live streams on the YouTube channel. This is a rigging question, which is a bit of a complicated question, but I think we got it more or less. We got it more or less covered. By the way, we've got some people showing up in the chat. We got Harold in the chat. No wind and cold. We got Ragnar as well. He says, no sailing this week. Need to plan his surf year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Ragnar. I want to see you on that Zoom. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love these planning things because, one, if you don't plan how you're going to get where you want to go, and two, I find it so motivating when you've got a piece of paper and you're working out what your goals are and what your dreams are and then how to get to them. And then you can use that motivation that's firing up inside of you for your whole year. It can carry you through a lot using that momentum. Okay, so in this rigging question, let's look at this. The sail is rigged very flat, and it's too big of a sail for the day. So Fabian was having trouble with his sail. I find, and this is maybe true for most sails, it's definitely true for the Ezzy sails that I use, that if the wind is really gusty, what I like to do is I'll be on a middle size. So let's say the wind is between 4.0 and 5.0. So in the gusts, it's 4.0. In the lulls, it's 5.0. I'm going to go on a 4.5, and I'm going to go with more than the medium downhaul and less than the medium outhaul. And that's kind of a compromise that helps work. You don't want to go the other way, because if you have too little downhaul and more outhaul, first of all, if you have too much outhaul, this is true with Ezzy sails, but it's true with any sails, you can kill them, right? Too much outhaul really can kill a sail. You need to have some shape in it. It's just not a nice feeling. And then without having that downhaul, when you get hit by a gust, the sail can really pull you and want to pitch you. So when it's really gusty, I like the strategy of having more downhaul, less outhaul. So really gusty, more downhaul, less outhaul, and a medium size. But when you're choosing that size, it depends where the wind is. I see a lot of people, they're rigging for the outside, but if you're not on the outside when you're riding waves, you can just muscle it out there. It doesn't matter. The most important place to rig for is the inside, getting out. If you can't get out, you're not going to have a session. The second most important place to rig for is on the wave or doing the jumps, whatever the action part of your session, right? So very important to choose where you're rigging for if the wind isn't consistent everywhere, right? Getting out, most important. And so that might mean taking a bigger board. So if the wind is really gusty, it's hard to get out, might mean taking a bigger board, but not a sail that you're going to be really overpowered on when you're on the waves. And these decisions, they seem like really small decisions and maybe easy to overlook, but they make a huge difference. Gear is so important in windsurfing. And coming from the professional side of on the world tour, heats are won and lost based on these tiny decisions. This is something actually that I hate about windsurfing competitions. There are very few things that I really hate about windsurfing competitions, uh, but this is one of them, that heats can be won or lost based on these tiny decisions in gear. If you saw me in the Aloha Classic this year, I was having a really good run. I lost because of a bad gear decision. I took gear that was too small and I couldn't get back into change. And I was thinking, because I thought it was going to be really windy, because it was really windy in the heat before. And then the wind just dropped like 20 knots and I was stuck. And okay, this is an extreme example, but the point is that gear decisions are super important. And okay, maybe you're not competing, but you want to have the most out of your session, you want to have fun. So making those decisions is critical. And you're not going to get them right every time, but it's about getting closer to getting them right every time. So it's moving closer to having better decisions. And so you start picking up these heuristics about which board, which how to rig the sail, and then you're getting better and better and better. And there's always going to be cases where the wind shifts and you end up, or you make the wrong decision, you think it's dropping and then it picks up and then you're way overpowered, or the other way around, whatever it is. You're not going to get it right every time, so don't be too hard on yourself. But the point is that if you're paying attention to it and you're paying attention to these small choices, you're going to have a better time. All right, we've got a few more people showing up in the chat. We got Eric as well, who's going windsurfing tomorrow. Awesome. We've got Max, and hasn't had a proper session since late September. Oof, I feel you, man. I feel you. Make sure that you come to the planning. I think that you've signed up. That'll be a fun exercise, and maybe we can come up with some strategies to get you on the water more this year. We've got Andre in the chat. There is a masterclass happening on Maui for everyone. You're welcome to join. It will be the end of the summer. Eric says, takes a few extra minutes to rig a new sail, and it's always worth it. Yeah. It's important. Rigging is important. The other thing, this is something that I preach, is that you want to spend your first few runs as an audit. So you're auditing your gear. So you go out from the beach, and before you're trying your forwards, before you're rigging your waves, you go out and back, and you're feeling everything. Is it the right sail size? Is it the right board size? Is the rigging right? Am I overpowered? Am I underpowered? And that way you can come in and make a change at the beginning of your session, because what the tendency is that you get out there, you're having fun, and maybe you're on the wrong size, or maybe you're not even having fun, but you're just trying to muscle through it, and then it ends up ruining the session because you're not on the right gear, or you need more outhaul or more downhaul or less, whatever it is. So spend those first couple runs as an audit. Is everything balanced? Is everything right? Is my boom height in the right place? That this happens to me sometimes where I'm rigging and maybe there was something different with my extension, so then the boom height is a little bit off because I go off on the marks on the sleeve of the sail. And if you change your extension, right, that's going to change the height from those marks on the sleeve to the deck of the board, which is what you feel with the boom. And so sometimes, maybe I've got a little bit of a more of a gap on the extension. And so I put my boom in the place where I normally put it lined up to the sleeve, but then it's actually a couple inches high, or not a couple, I guess it'd be like an inch high, and I can feel that. And so I feel that in the audit. I drop down in the water. I don't need to go into the beach to make that change, but some of the changes you will. Bam, bam, bam. Boom, I've got it how I want it. Off. We got Mike in the chat as well, says still out of the water, but he's going to shoot pumping Gwythian tomorrow. We got Matt as well, who says snow but no wind. Whoa. All right, let's get back to the Facebook group. And Leonardo, Happy New Year, and wants a masterclass on the cheese roll. Mark also. I have to think about that. So the forward is something that I've worked on teaching a lot, and I have a bunch of different strategies and exercises. The cheese roll, I haven't put that thought into, so it's something that I'd have to think about how to teach. But I don't see why not. All right, we got a question about which boards to use on lakes or bays, and can you use wave boards for that or free wave boards? I think free wave boards are generally good for that, or onshore wave boards. You don't want to use a hardcore wave board because it's going to have too much rocker. It's going to be too slow. Yeah, so you want something with a pretty fast rocker, a pretty wide tail. I don't think it's ridiculous to use a wave board for gusty bump and jump conditions, but you want to make sure that it's an onshore wave board. You don't want to use a hardcore wave board because it's just going to be non-optimal. It's not going to get planing as easily. It's not going to stay on a plane as easily. It's going to be more difficult. All right, we are all caught up. I know this is a different time for the live stream. Thank you everyone for showing up and accommodating this last minute change. But I've got some things going on today. I had to move this forward. We are doing the year planning. So that's this. I can pin this to the top of the group, pin to featured. So this is easier to find. And you have to sign up in this Google Doc to join the Zoom. Okay, it's going to be a Zoom, so it's going to be back and forth. It's not going to be one way like the live streams. And I've got some exercises for planning your windsurfing year and beyond even. I'm really looking forward to this. This is something that I think is really fun, beneficial, and gives you a lot of good energy and excitement. So if you are a windsurfer and you're going to live in 2025, I recommend this. If you're not a windsurfer, you might not find it relevant. If you don't plan to live in 2025, it also won't be relevant. But otherwise, it's going to be relevant to you. So sign up here, show up. It's going to be a good time. And then as well, if you want to join one of the master classes, we've got a few. Morocco, week 2, June 15th to 21st, July 21st to 27th in Gran Canaria, and then Maui is going to be sometime August, September. Again, if you're interested in that and you want to influence the dates, then apply now. And the dates will be set sometime soon. I'm going to reach out to all the people who have already applied, and we're going to coordinate what works for them and what works for me. And then the dates will be set. And so if those dates work for you, great. And if they don't, then you're out of luck. So if you want to influence them, apply now. All right, we got one last question before I'm going to sign off here. Is the position of the boom for tricks the same, or any tricks better with a little higher boom? Great question. Yeah, the position of the boom does affect how easy some moves are. For jumps, I feel like you want to have kind of a medium boom. Sometimes it feels easier with a higher boom. It almost never feels easier with a lower boom. But I think that the medium boom is where you want to be. You don't want to be super high because you still do want some control of the rig, or like maneuverability of the rig is maybe a better word than control. For wave riding, having a lower boom makes it easier. You can get the sail leaned over more. You can get off axis better. Lower boom is easier. For doing freestyle tricks, high boom, way up high above your head is easier. And the reason for that is it helps hold the sail over the board, and so you're more balanced. So when you're doing things like spocks or even heli tacks, it's a lot easier to stay centered over the part of the board that you have to balance on, instead of getting too far to one side or the other and then falling over. So having that high boom for freestyle, especially for the sliding tricks like spocks, grubbies, flockas, that high boom makes it a lot easier. So there definitely is a difference. But then if you're doing, goiters or paunches, having the medium boom is easier than the high boom. Maybe a low boom can also be easier for those. It depends. It really depends on the style that you're doing it. Uh, but the point is yes, boom height does matter. And so if you're doing all of those in one session, you've got to find a compromise. Often for wave riding sessions at Hokipa, where I'm not doing a lot of jumping, I have my boom very low. Somewhere like Gran Canaria, where I'm jumping and wave riding, I'm raising my boom a little bit. Also, in onshore wave riding, I find I like having a little bit of a higher boom. Uh, it just feels a bit more comfortable for me. So that's what I like. What I recommend is experimenting with it. So playing with that boom height, and it can be dynamic. So I'm riding my boom this much lower. So that's about 5 centimeters lower than I was this time last year. I found that feels really good for me right now. For the kind of turns I want to do, the kind of riding I want to do, I've lowered my boom at Hokipa by 5 centimeters. That's a huge change. You definitely feel it. So experiment, play with it, and you might find that for one season, you want to ride your boom a little bit higher or a little bit lower based on just your personal preference. And the more you experiment, the more that becomes intuitive. All right, I've got to sign off. I hope you have a wonderful windy week. You know all the places to sign up for masterclasses that are happening this year and for the planning that's happening on Friday, the year planning. I'm really looking forward to that. I will see you all there, hopefully, and then also next week, Sunday. Bye-bye.